Hi guys, I slept, I woke up. If you notice the last video I made, the second to the last video I made when I was coming back from the hospital, you will see that my eyeballs here were red. Two of them were red. I was so tired. My eyes were turning me headache. So now I've slept. Since I came back, I slept. I just posted the video of the shopping, what I got from the shop. So I decided to make this video, guys. Listen to it. Listen to this video very well. It will benefit you. You know, every woman or young girl in her teenage age, between the ages of 16, depending on when the child starts maturing, to 29, every young woman or lady produces between 300,000 to 500,000 eggs. They are just created with it. Okay? Women are not formed like men. You know, social media has given illiterate, you see all these Nkurumini and Igbo smokers mouth to come and talk when sound minds are talking. Facebook especially is where you will see all these irresponsible, on-trend, uncultured touts. They want to put mouths, especially when you drop a post. Even the so-called men that claim they went to school, some of them are barristers, but they don't read, they don't research. They have nothing upstairs. Even the law they went to study in school, they can't still defend it. That is why Nigeria is as useless as it is. So let me continue with what I'm saying. Every young girl on earth, born on earth, is created with 300 to 500,000 eggs between the ages of, let me say, 18 to 29 years. At that time, between 18 years, some girls of 15, let me say 15 to 29 years, some girls start seeing their menstruation from 15 years, 16 years, 17, 18, 19, 20 till 29. Anytime you see your menstruation, what it means is that the egg that matured that we are supposed to fertilize, they were not fertilized. Okay, so all of them, I won't start going through the processes of ovulation and fertilization of eggs and release of those eggs that we call menses. And then you menstruate. As you are menstruating monthly, you are losing your eggs. That is how it is. By the time you get to 30 years, the 500,000 eggs you have, the 300,000 eggs you have might have reduced to 200,000, 250,000, or 350,000, depending on the number of eggs you have in you. Okay, so like I said in my post, you know, we have so many illiterates here. So many illiterates. My children, both the boys and the girls, the male and female, I don't know how many God is still going to give us. None of them under my roof, under our roof, me and my husband's roof, is going to be pressured to marry. None of them. You know, when the environment where we grew up in Igbo land especially, mounting pressure on a man who is 35 years, 30 years, or 40 years, who is financially successful to marry is a normal thing. A girl child who is 30 years that is not married, mounting pressure of her, insulting her, bullying her to marry is a normal thing because we see marriage as achievement. One of the number one things that we achieve in the lives of my children, both the male and female, is to help them understand that marriage is not achievement. The same way your mothers, my mother, your mother, our mothers succeeded in implanting it in our brain from Africa in Igbo land that if you are not married, you are not complete. And it's sticked in our brain. Today it's difficult for you to understand anything otherwise. It is difficult for you to understand that a man can wake up and say, I don't want to marry. A woman can decide not to marry and still have her kids. That is how I'm going to make it stick in the brain of my children with proper examples and reasons why it should be like that. I'm not discouraging any of my child from getting married. No. But they are going to understand that they have things to fulfill. That is a reason why God created them aside procreation. And they can actually procreate without being married. It has to be registered in their brain. In fact, I don't even have to force them into it. The environment, the society where they live in, marriage is not exalted nor celebrated the way it's done in Igbo land. So automatically the environment itself is going to even groom them. So it makes the job easy for me. Very easy. So between the ages of 19 and 29, like I stated in my post, all my girl children are going to be encouraged to freeze their eggs. It is very important. That time they still have between 300,000 to 500,000 in their eggs reserves. And you know, as you're menstruating as a woman, those eggs you're losing, you are not regrowing, you are not producing new ones. It is going down. And the quality of your eggs are also depreciating. The quality of your egg when you are a teenager is different from when you are from your 30s. You can still get pregnant even at your 45 if you are not in a menopause already. You can still get pregnant from 40. You can still get pregnant at 50 if you are not in your menopause period, if you are still ovulating. Pregnancy can occur at any time in the life of a woman. But what I'm saying is that those quality eggs, very healthy eggs from my children are going to be preserved. When I talk about preserving or freezing eggs, there is no how you will hash a whole lot of 300,000 or 500,000 eggs from a human being at once. When you're preserving your eggs, probably about 20, 30 eggs might be extracted from these thousands of eggs you have. And then it is going to be checked under the microscope. The embryologists with gynecologists, fertility specialists and gynecologists, we check those eggs and then see the ones that are very healthy, preserve them. Very important for every of my girl child. Do you know the reason why it's like this? So they won't be under pressure to go and marry, forgetting to build themselves academically, financially, emotionally, morally, all around before thinking about marriage. They need to build themselves and be equipped. Remember that when a child is 17 to 18, they are still living with their parents. They are preparing for the university. So they need to get their university education, at least the next 4 years. That's when they are 22, 23. If they want to go for their masters, they will go for their masters, get their masters. If they want to get their PhD, they will get their PhD and get a good job. Be financially independent very well. At least own at least one property abroad. So that before that 29, they must have finished reading, studying, working, okay. Spiritually, they are sound. Morally, they are sound. Emotionally, they are balanced. Psychologically, they are balanced. Financially, they are stable. So they can, examine properly. If they want to choose a wife, for instance, my son, they will engage you in conversation and know if you have something upstairs as a wife. If they're engaging you in a conversation as a man, you're attracted to them. When they engage you in a conversation, they will know if you're capable of leading them as head of their homes. If peradventure they get to 30 to 35, they did not meet any man on their way who has sense. If they're actually meeting all these Igbo boys whose parents did not raise well, and they decide, oh, okay, let me check Austrians or anybody from Europe, and they didn't really see the kind of man they want from Europe, America, Australia, because I'm not going to be limiting any of my child from any race. They can marry from anywhere, India, any part they want to marry. They didn't really see who they are compatible with. At that time, if I'm still living, those preserved eggs will serve them because they are done studying. They are ready to start giving birth. They will quietly go to the lab, the IVF center where they preserved their eggs, and get their transplant. Some illiterates we are saying, where are they going to get the sperm? They are going to be fertilized. Where do you normally get blood if you need transfusion and you are sick? You are under critical condition, or you want to give birth through CS. They say you don't have blood in your body and all that is risky, or you want to go for a major surgery. Where do you normally get blood? It's a normal thing now. You know, IVF just started, maybe in Nigeria. With time, some of you, your ears and eyes, your mind will open. They will quietly go to the lab. There are donors every day, everywhere, all over the world. In fact, there are preserved sperms and eggs in every IVF center. The only thing that we do is to give you the bill, you pay for it. And then your egg is going to be fertilized with it to form an embryo. Once an embryo is formed, it will be transferred to your womb. Is your egg, is your blood, is your child. you carry it and give birth. If they want two, they give birth to choose. If they want 10, they give birth as many as they want. If they want one, they'll give birth to it. Nancy Ume's daughter, Talia, was preserved in 2021, sorry. This child you're looking at was preserved in 2021, and she came into existence in 2025. Nancy and her husband went and preserved their eggs and sperm. They still have in the reserve, in the IVF center where they did it. They still have their embryos there. This egg and sperm they brought out were fertilized. They formed embryo. They did their research, brought out the embryologists, kept the most healthy ones. They are still in the lab, the embryos. And one of those embryos is Talia, that celebrated 1 year birthday about, I think, last week. She was an embryo as at 2021. Today, she's a child, a 1-year-old child. You know, most of you are so stuck. Your level of illiteracy is so low, and you don't want to learn. You're not ready to learn. Two comments attracted me. Somebody said, 2 people said, they actually mentioned how expensive it is to preserve, to freeze egg. And the way the first one mentioned it makes it look like every child came from a poor background, like every one of them or their children. If you have my daughter, any child you give birth to, let me say in Austria, for instance, is not a poor child. It doesn't matter if the parents of those child are stupid, they don't do anything. There are these people that never learned any handwork, they didn't go to school, they are earning normal basic salary. And as far as you're born in this country, you're going to school in this country, you're no longer a poor person. From 18 years, a child can start working here. But I'm going to guide my children. It's called parenting. I'm going to guide my children to understand this life better than they taught you in Igbo land. They will understand that in life, there are things that matter in life. There is a destiny to fulfill in life. There is a reason why God created you, to come and affect lives, empower lives, change lives. Not to come and get married and get pregnant and start giving birth to children. Okay, so this comment got my attention. They are talking about how expensive. Somebody living in Europe who earns, like I said, this month now they've paid double salary. So anybody you know that lives in Austria, it's time to tax them, because almost every worker in Austria we collect double salary this month, November. I don't cast some people's updates. For instance, if you're a nurse or a doctor, you're earning 4,000 to 5,000 or 6,000 euro. This month you're going to be paid 8,000 or 10,000 euro, double times 2. If you're earning 1,500, you'll be collecting 3,000. If you're earning 1,800, you'll be collecting 3,600. So that is it. So any child living in Austria, for instance, even if he's a teenager who is going to school, earning study allowance 800 to 900 or 1,000 euro as a student while going to the university, that child automatically every month earns over 1.5 million in naira. So to preserve egg, this is monthly. It's not as expensive as you people think, for a child who is being raised abroad. That child can afford it. Okay? So you people should stop all these things. And in Nigeria, to preserve egg, they pay just yearly. They will give you the price, you pay yearly. Maybe 1.something million in a year. So a child that lives abroad, or a parent that live abroad that earn half of their salary is over 1.5 million, half of their salary, they will just drop it there. It's once in a year. Once in a year, they will pay. That's all. The egg and those embryos are there preserved. Get informed. When I drop a post, read in between the lines. Stop jumping up and down, jumping out from your local mentality, your local upbringing. Your parents were not educated. Your parents didn't go to school. My father was a doctor. My mother went to school. All my siblings went to school. All of us are learned. I did not grow up in the kind of environment where you grew up. My parents did not raise me with the kind of mentality and information your parents raised you with. And I did not associate with the kind of people you associated with. I mingled with people who knew better than me. Even when I came to Austria here, I decided to choose people who I can relate with. And I'm still going to school now in this old age because I want to acquire more knowledge. Please, when I drop my post, in as much as your comments gives me, what is it called? What I need as a content creator. Before you jump out to argue, make sure you have sense. Most of you sound so empty and stupid, and you boldly actually sound stupid, very bold in your stupidity. So like I said, let me re-emphasize it. If you're a young lady following me, especially if you live abroad or you live in Nigeria, you have a good job, look for a fertility center, an IVF center especially. If you're still below 30 years, look for an IVF center. If you live abroad, look for an IVF center around you in that country where you are. Make these inquiries. If it's expensive for you to do it abroad, go check Nigeria. You can check that place Nancy Ume did her own, or you check St. Ives in Lagos. There are a lot of good IVF centers in Nigeria. Make inquiries. Go and preserve your egg as a lady. I'm giving you the best advice. So that if anything happens, you get married at 35. And then you look for a child in the next 5 years. Belle no enter, you are 40. You tell your husband you preserved your egg. You go to that IVF center. He will remove his own Miriamo. And then they will form your child for you. You get pregnant to as many children as you want. Get wisdom. Bible says get understanding in all you're getting. You see, wisdom and understanding. Bible called it the principal thing. And that is what we give here at Desi's Empire. I think I'm going to be ending this video here, but just try and watch it to this moment. If you actually watch this video till this moment, you've gotten information and you've gotten informed. Do it today. It's the best for you. Instead of rushing in to live with a useless man because you want to run away from entering menopause, freeze your eggs. I'm Desi's Empire.